What's up, moviegoers? Welcome to the Marchio podcast. I'm your host, Anthony. In today's episode, I'm talking about Hellraiser Judgment. Now, the movie was written and directed by Gary J. Tunnicliffe, who also wrote the previous movie, Hellraiser Revelations. Now, the plot of Hellraiser Judgment centers on three police detectives who are investigating a series of murders, and they are confronted by these beings of hell. And basically, the film expands on the fictional universe by introducing a new faction of hell, the Stygian Inquisition, who are distinct from the recurring Cenobites. And the Cenobites offer sadomasochistic pleasures to humans who enter their dominion, while the Inquisition processes the souls of sinners. Now, Gary J. Tunnicliffe, the writer and director, has a role in this movie, and now Tunnicliffe plays the Inquisition's Auditor, who is a big, prominent role in the movie. Now, let me just say that the role of the Auditor is one of the most interesting, craziest characters I've ever seen in a horror movie. He basically is judge, jury, and executioner when it comes to, processing these souls of the sinners, while the Cenobites just sit back and, give pleasure to humans who just enter their world. If you had the Auditor in one of the Doug Bradley movies, where he played Pinhead, that movie right there would have been a surefire hit. But it feels like Hellraiser Judgment, the Cenobites are a back burner, and the Inquisition is more so the front and center storyline in this movie. Now, Gary J. Tunnicliffe was unable to direct his screenplay for Hellraiser Revelations due to scheduling conflicts. And Tunnicliffe initially removed all references to the series from his Judgment concept and tried to have it funded as an independent film in 2013. So basically, Tunnicliffe knew Revelations was a really shitty movie, and he didn't want it to be connected to Judgment in any way possible, and that's a very good thing. So basically what he wanted to do was he intended on making a true Hellraiser film because of the disappointment with the films that took place before. Now, Dimension Films was required to make another Hellraiser film to retain the rights, giving Tunnicliffe a chance to propose his vision. Now, the concept was initially rejected, but accepted after he negotiated changes with the studio executives. Now, although Tunnicliffe did ask Doug Bradley to return as Pinhead, Doug Bradley declined to do so. And the reason he declined to do so was because he learned that he would have to be required to sign a non-disclosure agreement to read the script. So basically, this makes it the second Hellraiser movie to not feature Doug Bradley as the role of Pinhead. And once Doug Bradley was not cast, someone else took over as the role of Pinhead and was given a much more different look, much more so-called, darker skin complexion, more of a caramel look, and the eyes were more blacked out. And the look and feel of the movie wasn't as, a shade of white or blue. It had like more of a grainy, dark, rustic look to it. I guess they wanted the, Inquisition look to it. And the interesting factor in this movie is that Chatterer, Pinhead's right-hand man, does return in this movie. And it's called basically Pinhead's servant in several of the earlier movies. And seeing Chatterer in a later movie without Doug Bradley was different. It felt like Chatterer was just there, but it didn't work at all. Now, there is a big name actress in this movie, and that's Heather Langenkamp, who played Nancy in A Nightmare on Elm Street and the Freddy Krueger movie. So it's very interesting to see her in this movie. And when I saw her in this movie, I was like, holy crap, what's going on? What's happening? I could say that they had a chance to do a Freddy Krueger Pinhead crossover, but good thing they didn't do that. So basically, you know what Pinhead is, and you know what he does in the Hellraiser movies. Now, I do want to talk about the most underrated character in the whole franchise of Hellraiser movies, and that's the new addition, the Auditor. Now, the Auditor is a clerk in hell who notes a person's sin before sending the person to the assessor for judgment, which is why it's called Hellraiser Judgment. The Auditor's typewriter paper is made of flesh and inked in blood. He often carries a music box, and basically has a comforting remnant of his human past. So the music that plays in the music box that the Auditor has basically calms him down and remembers about his human past life. And according to the writer-director Gary J. Tunnicliffe, the character is German and not a Cenobite, He is part of the Stygian Inquisition, separate from the Order of the Gash, which was one of many Hell's Orders in the previous Hellraiser movies. There are many orders in the Inquisition, but Tunnicliffe's character shares a faction with the Accessor, the Jury, the Butcher, and the Surgeon. Now, Tunnicliffe also had ideas to introduce the Bone Collectors, the Seamstress, the Sentinels, the Order of the Exudation, and the Effluvium, which were planned for introduction but removed for budgetary reasons. So basically what happens is that the Stygian Inquisition lures their victims, or candidates, to houses on Earth that connect to Hell, basically evaluating their sins and desires to decide their own fate. Occasionally, its victims are deemed more suited to the Cenobites. Now, basically, because of time and budget, writer-director Gary J. Tunnicliffe decided to play the character himself. Now, introducing these other characters in this movie was really, really good. The Accessor, the Jury, the Butcher, and the Surgeon was immensely crazy, and the idea in mind that Gary J. Tunnicliffe had with this Hellraiser Judgment movie was good. You can actually give the Auditor his own movie and work from there, which I hope Gary J. Tunnicliffe does, because he made up for how bad Revelations was. And as you're watching this movie, you really do forget that Doug Bradley is not in it at all. And the reason I say that is because the Auditor's character is the one that drives this movie, makes this movie worth watching. And like I said, if this storyline was done in the previous Hellraiser movie that featured Doug Bradley as Pinhead, it would have been a out-of-the-park, home run, grand slam of a movie. Listen, try and get Doug Bradley back to play Pinhead. Get the character of the Auditor in that movie also. Get the Accessor, the Jury, get the Surgeon. Let's get that going, let's make it happen. And while, I didn't like the look of Pinhead, it kind of made sense in a way. It felt like this was a different part of the Cenobite world, if we were seeing a different side of things and how things were done. I mean, I wanted more from this, because the movie is only 81 minutes long. It had a budget of $350,000, which is the second, lowest budget it had. And it was released in February of 2018, so it's a very, very new release of a movie. And I know not many people have seen it because not many people know about it. But let me know in the comment section below what you thought about Hellraiser Judgment. Do you think it was the best in the series? And how does it compare to Doug Bradley's Pinhead Hellraiser movies? And do you see the Auditor as one of the most strongest characters in the Hellraiser universe alongside Pinhead? Because like I said, the Auditor's character is what made this movie worth watching. It drove the story, and director and writer Gary J. Tunnicliffe just, hit a home run with that character. And like I said before, I really want a standalone film with the Auditor. Call it Hellraiser Auditor, or something like that. So that concludes my Hellraiser franchise talk and discussion about the Hellraiser movies. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about my discussion on the Hellraiser movies, and I'm pretty sure you'd like to know where my Hellraiser movies rank. Well, here they are. Number 1, Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. Number 2, Hellraiser, Hellseeker. Number 3, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. Number 4, Hellraiser Judgment. Number 5, Hellraiser. Number 6, Hellraiser Inferno. Number 7, Hellraiser Bloodline. Number 8, Hellraiser Hellworld. Number 9, Hellraiser Deader. And number 10, Hellraiser Revelations. So there you have it. My rank of the Hellraiser franchise of movies. Let me know in the comment section below where you would rank each one of these movies. And do you think the last 2 movies, 9 and 10, should be included in with this franchise? Because Doug Bradley was not involved in it at all. Let me know in the comment section below. I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are on that topic. And do you want to see Doug Bradley return one more time in the role of Pinhead? And be sure you click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell for new videos and new podcast episodes on the Marchio Productions YouTube page. And follow Marchio Productions on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And follow me, Anthony, your host, on Instagram and Twitter at misterfilmstock. And follow the Marchio Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'll leave a link to all the social media accounts in the description box below. You can check it out and follow along. Alright everyone, that does it for today's episode. I'm your host, Anthony. Thanks for tuning in.